DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Rudo and AJ coming at you live on an Avalanche off day as they are up 3-1 in their series. The major Avalanche Blues-related news of the day, David Perron fined $5,000 for his cross-check to Nazem Kadri.
I was a little surprised.
I thought they'd get him on the spear, too.
That's what I thought.
Because the NHL never seems to tolerate spearing, really.
They don't like spearing.
Yeah.
Cross-checking is one of those things where they're like, well, you're in front of the net. What can you do? Like they have kind of a blasé attitude towards cross-checking, but spearing, they're like, you tried to stab a man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So, and regardless of what they called it, that fine is probably a culmination of everything David Perron did in that game. So,
yeah, it kind of is like their catch-all.
Yep.
We can only fine him for one thing, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they could have fined him for 4. I don't actually know the limitations of that.
I don't either, but I can't recall any time I've ever seen someone get fined for 2 reasons.
Yeah, same. Either way, it was well deserved. It was nonsense.
Yeah.
Although I'm surprised he got with the cross checking that it was just that. Like, did Buchnevich not just do the exact same thing 3 seconds earlier?
Yeah, I think it's probably more of a fine for David Perron being a menace to society that entire hockey game. But
yeah, it was cross-checking, but it was also trying to elbow a dude after he scores a goal, jumping on him after the cross-check, and trying to punch a dude, spearing a guy later on in the game.
and then just tackling someone.
Yeah. That would have been he could have been the first guy ever suspended for menace to society reasons, where they just show like a clip.
As the video shows.
Yeah.
David Perron is a menace.
Like here, homeboy acted a fool last night. Here's 5 different instances in which not one of them was suspendable on its own, but he did all of them in the same game.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Definitely,
as it is, pretty standard for the NHL. A nothing fine that he won't even notice.
Yep. The NHL is terrified to actually suspend players in the playoffs. So, unless you hurt somebody, then maybe. But
yeah.
Anyway, that was the major news. The rest of the league continues on. We already have the 1 second-round series over, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and then we have the others. AJ, best series of the second round so far? I'm assuming it's between Avs Blues and the Battle of Alberta for you.
Yeah, well, Avs Blues has been pretty contentious, and the games have been competitive.
Yeah.
You have game 1, a 3-1 game, a 2-1 game in the third period. Or game 1 was overtime. Game 2 was a 2-1 game in the third period, and right?
Yes, it was 2-1. Yeah.
Okay.
Before it spiraled a bit, but
yeah. Yeah, no, it was 2. Yeah, because they got it at the beginning of the right. I do remember what happened. And then, game 3, I think that was again a 1-goal game in the third period.
Yep.
Game 4, same thing, plus the added benefit of all the Kadri stuff.
Yep.
So the series is kind of giving you a little bit of everything that you want. You've got overtime. You've got
quality close games.
You've got fireworks. You've got players doing things. You've got players making plays, and
for sure,
actually rising to the occasion. You got stars underperforming. It's been
a little bit of everything for sure. Yeah.
It's kind of been a grab bag of stuff in the series. So, I think, I don't know, best. We're probably biased. It's certainly been interesting. Battle of Alberta, I think, has been less interesting because the games haven't been.
They're not the best hockey games. For sure.
Like when you have a 5-1 game that ends up as 6-6 game early in the third, like
things got pretty crazy.
Certainly was an interesting road to get there.
You're not looking at it and going, "Boy, is this the best hockey there is?"
It's
not really.
It just doesn't. The hatred is there, like the disdain between the teams and the fan bases. All of that is there. That's great, but it feels like the games themselves just aren't great.
It's. Especially comparing it to watching the Avs, like you're talking about. The Avs' worst players, or at least the most underperforming players, are their best players. And they're getting quality play from pretty much everywhere else in the lineup. And then you go watch Edmonton, and it's like, oh, they have 3 players. Okay.
Yeah, they put McDavid, Draisaitl, and Kane together, and we're like, all right, go win us a series. And somehow, in the second round, that is working for them. But also, like, watching Connor McDavid, the game's like premier talent.
Just actually superhuman,
Show up in the postseason and live up to what you want to see from the game's best players in the postseason. Like we're hammering away at Nathan MacKinnon every day. The Avs are up 3-1 in their series, and Nathan MacKinnon hasn't really checked in against the
hardly
Blues
at all. Yeah,
it's just not much there. But you look over at Connor McDavid, and he's checked all the way in.
Dude's punch card is full at this point, and it's game 4 tonight.
Yeah,
so
like he has just been a revel. He's been great to watch. I mean, you want to watch a singular dominant performance. That series is great because you have McDavid. Wow.
It's
and that's, as a general hockey fan, you get between the 2 series out west, you've gotten to enjoy both aspects of that. One series, you've got the high-end talent doing some crazy things. And then the other series, you have really close competitive games.
Yeah.
I think they both have been good. They both have been good. They've been fun to watch. And then Tampa, Florida, I thought was actually brutal to sit through.
That series kind of sucked. It
really did. I mean, remember how Battle of Florida was so good last year? Like it was like the series of the first round.
The result is the same, but how they got there is just wildly different.
Well, and like watching Tampa be like, well, we'll just win 2-0. Like, okay, weird, but okay.
I mean, I don't even like Florida. Just did not look like they had the entire rest of the year.
Yeah.
For this one round, and like even obviously Vasilevsky, all the credit in the world, the guy's absolute monster.
Sure,
but 1 goal in the entire playoffs for the Florida Panthers on the power play.
Yeah, well, and the only reason that they even get through the Caps is because the Caps had weak goaltending at the end. I mean, Samsonov wasn't any good at
ultimately
the end.
Crumbled, and
just
that
wasn't.
Caps team had multiple goal leads in multiple games that they couldn't hold on to.
They were that close to getting out of that round. And to be honest with you, Washington, Tampa Bay could have been more interesting because the battle of Florida ended up being a gigantic dud. And I was so mad yesterday when we were sitting there at the bar watching it a little bit. And I was telling you, I was like, don't ever let me take the bait again.
Yeah.
The next time that I think I'm rolling with the new kid on the block, remind me that they're the new kid on the block, and that guy always gets his ass beat for a year or two before they go on to actually do something meaningful.
So you're saying pick Florida next year?
I'm saying, I mean, considering how hard Florida went at the deadline,
that's a lot of assets to give up. That's true.
There was a lot to hemorrhage in 1 year to get swept in round 2.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but Tampa also gave up 2 firsts for Brandon Hagel, so.
Yeah, but when you're going for the 3-peat, it's all house money, baby. It's all house money.
I get it.
You don't give a shit about first round picks for a few years. You're looking at first round picks and you're like, man, that's all I got. That's the only way that we're gonna go ahead and get these guys.
Yeah, but also it's not getting any easier to keep picking Tampa down the line. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the other thing about Tampa is that in a couple of those games they were like badly outplayed, it's just Vasi.
Shots were like 30-7 or something in game 4, but the stat they showed on the game the other night in the 7 series clinching games. He has like a 995 save percentage or something outrageous.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like his ability to just slam the door shut on a series all on his own. And they in the locker room, he just goes, give me 1.
Yep. That's enough.
And I got you. And they give him 1 and then they kind of just sit around. Like I've never felt this way about a hockey team. I am both unbelievably impressed at their ability to just continue to get it done and to find their way and to be as comfortable as they are in the postseason, which is an inherently uncomfortable environment. And I'm also so underwhelmed at how they do it.
I think maybe particularly this year, Vasi stands out even more. Because you're watching the second round and you're like, boy, Jacob Markstrom isn't bailing Calgary out. Excuse me. Igor Shesterkin does not look great by any stretch of the imagination for New York.
I think Shesterkin he's good. I don't know that he's the Vezina level, but I think he's been good in that series. I think he's been better in that series than he was in the Penn series.
That was a pretty low bar.
And, I mean, he got pulled in those games. So I think he's been good in the Carolina series. I really don't have a big Shesterkin problem. Ranta's been good. Darcy Kemper, I feel it's complicated with Darcy because I feel like he has gotten some unbelievable bad luck, but just also hasn't been great.
There's more there. There's more there.
I think that's a good way to put it. There's more there, and for real, can the guy please stop getting the short end of the stick on some of this bad luck bullshit?
Double redirect nonsense.
Watching the Buchnevich goal, their third St. Louis goal back, and watching it in slow-mo it's like a centering pass to the slot in the middle, and Brandon Saad one-times it, and he kind of flubs it. And he flubs it and gets rewarded because it goes off of the body of 2 players behind Kemper. And you can't ask Kemper to do shit about that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's just
and
there's one goal every game.
Yeah, if that was the first goal like that in the series, you'd be like, well, all right, stuff happens. But you're like, again? This happened again?
Like when Jordan, in game 2, when Jordan Kyrou scored that goal that goes off Gerard's stick, everybody went, what can you do?
Yeah.
would you ask Sam to make the minor adjustment to get all of that puck and have it go out of play? Sure. So you want him to be
millimeter perfect,
a tenth of a second better? Like we're talking about, like, okay, great, but that it's happening every game is like, what the fuck is going on here, man?
You just kind of go, all right, whatever. Can't handle this right now.
Yeah, it's just silly. I do want to get into some of these because the chat is asking, like, can Carolina win a road game? It's fascinating stuff.
Yep.
I do want to talk a little bit about our series still going on.
Yep, absolutely.
Because that's still happening, and we still have an Avalanche audience primarily. But we will get into the rest of that. We will talk around the horn today.
Yep, we will get into a little bit of everything. We are brought to you by Green Chef, a certified CCOF meal kit company. Green Chef makes eating well easy with plans to fit every lifestyle. Keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or if you're just looking for more balanced meals, they have you covered over at Green Chef with a range of recipes to suit whatever your preferences might be. They offer 24 always changing recipes to choose from every single week. So it's not like you're locked in. You can go over there and choose, I like this one, I like that one, especially if you just get like 3-4 meals a week. You don't have to get one for every night of the week. You can just get some that they have ready to go for you. They're extremely sustainable, and they're the #1 meal kit for eating well with fresh produce, premium proteins, and organic ingredients, which you can trust. So go over there, go look into Green Chef. They're 100% offset to their carbon footprint as well. They care.
Have you ever used one of these?
Yeah.
Have you used Green Chef?
Yeah.
Oh, is it dope? I've never used a meal service, but I've always wanted to.
So the thing I really liked about Green Chef is their proteins. Like, their meat was genuinely high quality stuff. It was really, really good.
That's awesome.
That's the one thing that really stood out to me. But Sarah and I love the stuff like Green Chef because you get home and I'm working all hours of the day. Yeah. So it's just whenever we can fit in a meal, pop everything open, cook it real quick. You got a meal, you're good to go. So
that's awesome.
A decent way to actually eat some healthy meals instead of me sitting at the bar drinking beer and eating wings every day, which I do that too, but
not every day.
Not every
4 days a week. Okay.
Look, the diet is for the summer, all right? Either way, head over to greenchef.com/DNVRAvs130. Use that DNVRAvs130 code to get $130 off your first order. And, of course, free shipping. That's greenchef.com/DNVRAvs130, the #1 meal kit for eating well. And, of course, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 rated sportsbook app out there. You go over there, use the DNVR code, you bet $5 on any NBA playoff game, and they just give you $150 in free bets. You don't need to even get the bet correct. You just bet $5 and they give you $150 in free bets that you can go bet on the hockey playoffs if you prefer, or any other playoffs that you like. Are there other sports in their playoffs right now? I honestly don't know. You can bet on baseball regular season. I know that for sure. But either way, tons of stuff to bet on at DraftKings, ranging from chess to badminton and everything in between. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DN. That's right. The Mammoth are in their playoffs. AJ's even got the hat on. Look at that. He came prepared.
I wear my Nuggets Miners hat a lot because I love that hat. It's actually outside of my Yargos hat. It's my favorite. But after the Tim Connolly stuff, I'm not gonna rip the Nuggets for a few days.
Gotta let it cool off a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you for the $5, Blakery.
Yeah. Sorry you had to get blocked for all that other nonsense, but
we can't be bought.
Yeah.
Not in that regard, at least. Okay. So, for starters, for the Avs, with Florida getting eliminated, they now officially have home ice for the entirety of the playoffs. No matter what happens, they have home ice advantage. And an interesting fun fact, the President's Trophy winner has lost 4 games in a row for the last 4 years in a row.
So obviously Florida this year,
Colorado last year,
Tampa 4 years ago against Columbus. Which one am I missing in between?
Let's find out.
Yeah, who was the top seed in the Edmonton bubble?
2019-20 NHL standings.
Was it St. Louis? St. Louis was number 1 in the West.
Let's see. It was Boston.
Okay. We got Boston, Washington, and Tampa in chat. So Chad was on it.
Some of you were correct. Some of you.
Yeah. That is crazy, though, that each one of those teams, because you don't win a President's Trophy by going through losing streaks, and to lose 4 in a row in the postseason. That's wild.
Hashtag cursed? Question mark.
Also, that's wild because they lose 4 every year.
Anyway,
a little side swipe.
Do you want to talk about your look on the Avs series first, or do you want to get into Carolina?
Let's just touch on it just a little bit here. That hey, it's 3-1, and we're feeling like we're there already, but
you gotta close.
We say it every round. The 4th one is the hardest one because it's do or die. The other team gets to play as loose as possible. There's no more stress. You either get it done or you go golfing, you know. David Perron just lost $5,000 for the vacation that he could be on next week.
The Avs should know as well as anyone. They pushed Dallas to Game 7 after being down 3-1, and it took overtime for Dallas to beat them to survive that series. And the year before that, they win Game 6 to force a Game 7 against San Jose. You haven't won until there are 4 wins in the series.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No counting the chickens. I mean, unless you count them and you come up with 3-1, then you can count those chickens.
Yeah.
You can't count the next one.
There's one that hasn't hatched yet there.
There you go. That's what I'm trying to say. Count the chickens, but the more eggs need to hatch. This is a great metaphor.
Really perfect. That's how the phrase goes. It's going to
turn out history. We're killing this.
It's absolutely true, though. There is, and honestly, the Avs have been very, very good about not looking too far ahead this year. They've done a great job of saying, we play tomorrow. That's what we're focusing on.
I really like no golf for the snow team as a comment because in my brain, especially with it in all caps like that, I read it as like no sleep till Brooklyn, but it's like, oh, golf for snow team.
AJ is all right. What is the funny version of the Beastie Boys?
I don't know.
I can't get there either. It's okay.
I'm too tired for this.
Yes. But, and look, the series has proved that none of these wins have been free for Colorado, right? These have all been close games, competitive hockey games.
Yeah, the Avs have like dominated in 2 of the games, and
scoreboard has still been close.
Game 1 went to overtime. Game 4 was a 1-goal game in the 3rd period.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're talking. There has been very little separation about all of this. Like there's been very little separation from these dudes. Even though you can look and see, like, hey, one team is better than the other, especially Ville Husso was really good in the regular season and is a big reason why the Blues were as good as they were. I'm tired of people overlooking that, but it is also true. He has not been good in the playoffs.
He's been, I would argue, bad.
He shut down. He had the big shutout
game
one against Minnesota, where the Wild dominated that game and Ville Husso stole it. After that,
he had 2 stinkers against them.
He hasn't been any good.
Getting beaten on the short side in this series.
He has not been good, and I think that they could justify going with Charlie Lindgren tomorrow. I would. It might be the final nail in the coffin of that relationship, to be honest. Because if I'm Ville Husso, I'm like, I did all that during the regular season to get you guys here, and you guys are gonna, while healthy, you guys are gonna go with this dude. Like, I would probably be done, but you know, you could see where they were coming from. He's been very good, man.
Yeah, I agree. He has not played well in the playoffs.
Somebody in the comments did ask about what do we think about the Avs giving up the first goal in every game. It's weird.
Especially in Game 4, it was weird because Game 4 was a great period of hockey from the Avs.
Oh, you look at Game 1 and Game 4 where the Avs are dominating play.
Yep,
the Avs are dictating everything happening on the ice, and
one play doesn't go their way, and it's in the back of their net. Yeah,
and it's in Game 1 it was a Makar failed clear that bounces off of,
takes a double deflection.
Goes off O'Reilly, off of what's his face, Braden Shen's foot,
right,
and O'Reilly makes a great play and he capitalizes, and it's 1-0, and you're like, wait, what the fuck just happened? Yep. And then Game 4 is it's the same thing. They make a great play. They actually make a great play. Buchnevich with a great read and a great finish. And
they also only had 3 shots on goal in that entire period.
That goal was their last shot on goal for the whole period.
Yep.
So you're like, hey, like it's not even like their first periods have been their worst periods in some of these games, but like last night, it was. I was salty as hell about it during the watch along, but like I was mad about it, man, because I just it's hard. Playoff hockey is hard,
and that's where the Avs deserve a lot of credit. Though is they came right back and punched St. Louis in the mouth in the second period too.
Well, and I mean, they came out and they just bodied them, right? And like St. Louis was horrible to start that period. They just made mistakes left and right. And like, was Husso? How good or bad was Husso? But also, you cough up a puck in the middle of the ice to Devon Taves.
Yep.
You
let Kadri get sprung on a 2-on-1.
Now Kadri's on a 2-on-1 and has picked the short side this year on that goaltender in that situation, and just does it again.
Yep.
Like Ville Husso, I'm not going to say got hung out to dry, but he didn't get very much help, and you can absolutely argue that he could have been better. But that was kind of the whole thing with Jordan Binnington, is that they were asking Jordan Binnington to be 2019 Binnington, and he needed to be otherworldly to even out the series.
And obviously we'll never get to know the what if of if Jordan Binnington was healthy and what this series looks like, but St. Louis has played so poorly at 5-on-5 for the majority of this series that
season.
Okay. All right. You said it, not me. It's fun to watch from the Avs side of things because you're going, wow, these two teams are just not on the same level.
Yeah. Yeah, when like we talked at the beginning of the series, we said, look, if you mess around with power plays and you give them free opportunities, they will light you on fire. That power play is awesome.
And that's how they clawed their way back into 2 of these games.
That's exactly where they have crushed Colorado in the series, as they have been awesome on special teams. Colorado hadn't been anywhere near close to good enough. And they've made up for it. They've made up for it with just kicking the shit out of them at 5v5.
Yep.
And in more than anything, it's defensively. The last 2 games?
Outside
5-on-5, man?
outside of the one freak play, there hasn't been much.
If you go and you look at the quality of opportunities, it's just not there, man. Like they are. I'll pull it up here in a sec if I can get my mouse to work. But they have locked it down so much in back-to-back games with third period leads, and you talk about like championship like formula. Teams with leads don't, but hey, they might have scored a goal. They might have scored a couple of goals to turn it from 4-1 to 4-3, but you don't let them come all the way back.
Someone in chat asked how our X factors are doing for Colorado St. Louis. We took Devon Taves and Brandon Saad. On St. Louis's side, the X factor has been completely irrelevant. They have gotten scoring from basically David Perron and the occasional chip in from Ryan O'Reilly for the goals that matter.
Yeah.
And you just haven't seen their depth production come through for them in the way that, frankly, they need it to be competitive at 5-on-5. On the Devon Taves side, I think it was pretty decent marker there. We talked about it last game. Did not play well in the first period of that hockey game. Had a lot of weird mistakes and choices. Dude still comes up with a big goal for the Avs in the second period.
At even strength in the series, Colorado has outscored St. Louis 14-7. Their expected goals has been 55%, so they've outproduced that. But scoring chances is 60-40, and high danger chances is 60-40.
So getting the better of that by a significant margin.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're not just creating, but you're limiting. And if you go and you look at it, the bulk of scoring chances, it was games 2 and 3 where St. Louis played really well, but they got dominated in games 1 and 4. Dominated in games 1 and 4. And their best bet so far has been punch even and get lucky.
Yep. Get some bounces that give you a goal here and there at 5-on-5, and then they 100% have to capitalize on special teams.
Yep.
And it's worked for them.
They have been great.
Honestly, pretty decently. It's just that the 5-on-5 side of things, the Avs depth has been, and Avs, when I say depth, I include the defensemen in that. Has just been better, and we've watched time and time again. I don't think St. Louis's defense is good enough.
No,
it's just not.
No, we've seen again, like at their best, St. Louis was like, well, we broke even.
Yep. You can't keep having shifts where guys like Nick Leddy are just stuck in their own zone.
Yeah, well, and like we picked a lot on Nick Leddy in this series.
Go down the line. They put in I want to say Buchnevich, but I mean Perunovic, and he was awful.
Nick Leddy, and the reason why we've picked on him a lot, like you expect a lot out of Colton Parayko and Justin Falk. Nick Leddy's their third guy. They're very, very clear-cut third guy on defense. Nick Leddy has almost 30 more minutes of 5-on-5 ice time
than their fourth.
Than Calle Rosen. And in this series, Nick Leddy's shots for percentage is 37. His expected goals is 37%. His goals for is 71. The Blues have actually outscored Colorado 5-2 with Nick Leddy on the ice.
Despite him getting dumpstered.
Despite the fact that he's gotten absolutely bombed. But Justin Falk is on the other end of that, where the Avs have outscored the Blues 8-2 with Justin Falk on the ice. But Justin Falk's underlines also match that.
Yeah. Having Calle Rosen on your second pair, that's like, it really is reminiscent of the 13-14 Avalanche defense in the playoffs to me.
Yeah.
They had Eric Johnson, and until Matt Cook blew him up, they had Tyson Barrie in that series. And then they had a bunch of dudes on that.
Remember,
team.
they had Jan Hayda with 2 broken hands.
Yeah. Wild stuff.
Right. Like that team was, and that was also the team that lost the guy that they traded for in the David Jones deal. He was the defenseman who was like washed, and he got into that awful accident from the Flames.
It wasn't Shane O'Brien, right?
No.
One. It's the other one.
He got into the really awful accident because he had a really good year for the Avs that year. And then he got, thank you, Corey Sarich. I knew Evan.
Yeah, it was Sarich. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good for Colorado. So like that Avs defense was like down some dudes. And this Blues defense with no Torrey Krug is down some dudes. Yep. No Marco Scandella either in this series. They're down some guys, and it shows. Defensively, this is just not good enough team. And we talked about it coming into this series. The only people who felt otherwise were Blues fans. And then there was the miracle of maybe Jordan Binnington can save us.
Hasn't worked out for them, has it?
Yeah. Turns out that's a tough sell.
In any case, the Avs have positioned themselves with 3 chances to take the series. Obviously, the hope is they only need 1, but they get 3 tries at it if they need 3 tries. And if I'm a betting man, I guarantee you the odds are very, very Avs favored to do it in 3 tries. They're probably pretty favored for the Avs to do it in 1 try. So it's okay to feel pretty good about the Avs right now, but they do still have to close out the series, but they're a good hockey team.
Yeah, and I mean they're back in Denver, and they've been so good at home, and like just how this series has gone. Would anybody be surprised at all tomorrow if the Blues or if the Avs rolled out and fed off of what Enrique is saying? The energy in the building is going to be bananas.
Yep.
And the Avs get up 2-0 in the first 5 minutes, and
it's a party from there, basically.
Yeah, and it never really, the Blues never really fully get all the way back into it. And then by the end of the 3rd period, maybe Colorado has a 2 or 3 goal lead, and they're kind of just chilling.
Yep. And it's been 18 years since the Avs have seen a conference finals. So
it's been more than that.
Has it? Are you sure?
Yeah, it's 2002.
Oh, you're right. It's been 18 years. The 18 years ago was the first time they lost in the 2nd round after that conference finals. Either way, 20 years then. So I do think it's interesting because this is a milestone, not just for this iteration of the Avs, not just for the modern iteration of the Avs. This is a milestone dating all the way back to the quote-unquote super team with Solani and Korea on it, right? It's been a long time since the Avs have seen a conference finals properly.
It's been a lot of disappointments.
Yep.
The salary cap era sort of ended that. It ended the Forsberg Sakic Avalanche, and they haven't been back. The last couple of years, we all know the history. We all know what's up.
For sure. It's
now they're as close as they've ever been, man, because they were not up 3-1 against San Jose or Dallas. They got to game 7, but those were series that they had to fight. They were behind in those series.
They didn't ever lead in either of those series, I believe.
No.
I believe they lost game 1 against Dallas, right?
Yep. They lost the first 2 against Dallas.
Yeah.
They were down 3-1 to the Stars.
Yep. Yeah, right.
And they were down 3-2 to the Sharks.
Yep. And the Sharks series went win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. So
yeah.
Or rather loss, win, I should say. But
so anyway, point is that they're in position to do this. And yeah, Evan, the game's at 6 tomorrow because it's the only game on.
Yep.
When the Panthers Lightning series ended, they were like, "Oh, well,
don't need to put the East Coast game early."
Yeah, 6 p.m. It's if there's a game 6 p.m. for that game too.
Kind of wish it was 6:30 at least, but oh well.
Yeah, I mean, who cares?
Do get home earlier. So
they still won't start the fucking game on time.
The puck drop will be pretty close to 6:30 probably, but anyway, we are brought to you by Avaca TV. You can go to avaca.tv/DNVR. That's EVOCA.tv/DNVR to get signed up today. You get television for just $15 a month for the first 3 months and only $25 a month after that. So it's super cheap. If you're in the Denver metro area, it has altitude. It has AT&T Sportsnet. It has the national channels. So they got you covered for watching all your sports here in Colorado. Again, way cheaper than something like DirecTV, and actually has the channels instead of something like Comcast. So recommend you go check them out. Also, there might be some of you watching us right now on Avaca TV. Hello. If you are, they have a DNVR channel where all of our podcasts go live too. So you finish watching your game, and you just swap it over to the DNVR channel for our post-game shows. It's that easy with Avaca TV right on your television. Don't have to do anything fancy. Check them out today. Again, it's Avaca TV. Avaca.tv/DNVR to let them know we sent you over there. And while you're kicking back, watching Avaca in your living room, maybe go get a Breck Brew. While you're at it, Breck Brew has dozens of different flavors. You can find them with the Breck Beer Locator to get a local liquor store near you. Anywhere in the lower 48, they serve you. If you're trying to get in Canada, you might have to ask someone to smuggle it across the border for you or something. But they also have good company hard seltzers. Highly recommend.
Yeah, let's just openly advocate for smuggling shit across borders on our show. Avaca will love this.
It's not illegal to take alcohol across the Canadian border.
You just have to declare it. That's all.
Yeah. So, you're fine.
Don't use the word smuggle.
Legally smuggle.
Just bring in.
They have hard seltzers as well. They're ridiculously tasty. The green apple one literally tastes like a Jolly Rancher. So go check those out with Breck Brew also. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Carolina. Can Antti Raanta keep it up? Are they for real without Freddie Anderson?
Yep.
You think so?
Yep.
Okay.
My question continues to be,
can they win a road game?
Where's the killer instinct? Because it feels like they outplay the other team all the time, and sometimes they win and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they're just constantly outplaying teams, and some of those games that they win.
And the end result kind of just is what it is.
Yeah. I'm just like, I really like what Carolina does. They roll 4 lines. They're deep defensively. They've got so much skill up and down their lineup. They don't really have any guys where I'm like, oh, this shift is a bunch of bums. Like I have all the respect in the world for their lineup. And Antti Raanta has been really, really good in his career when he's been healthy. The healthy has just been the problem. It's never been, can he play?
It's literally been a problem in these playoffs.
Yeah, right.
So,
but the real question for me is, can Carolina's best players get it done against Tampa's best players? Can they get it done against the Rangers' best players? They're not out of the series yet. I don't even want to keep jumping ahead.
It's only 2-1. They're not even to the 3-1 mark yet.
And they haven't won a road game yet.
Yeah. That's definitely not nothing, to say the least. It's weird too, right? Because it's not that their top players have played poorly by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
But they haven't gotten that elite talent through these playoffs. Their leading scorer is Teuvo Teravainen with 9 points in 10 games. They haven't had that guy to truly step up and be the man.
Well, and who are their next scorers?
Aho, Slavin, and D'Angelo. all at 8.
It's 2 defensemen.
It is 2 defensemen. You only have 5 points out of Nino, and 4 points only out of Svech. One of their, yeah.
This is where, when you look at, like, for example, the Avs and their stars have struggled in round 2, right?
Relatively.
But you look at their points. Anybody off the top of their head right now? Anybody know who Colorado's leading scorer is in the postseason?
It's still McCarr, right?
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
But then you have Kadri, Landeskog, Granton, and McKinnon.
All of which at a point per game or better, I would assume.
All of them are. All of those guys. McKinnon is the lowest with 9 points in 8 games.
So McKinnon's what, their 5th leading scorer?
Mm-hmm. And then after that, like, you've got Val Nichushkin, Devon Taves, Arturi Lehkonen, Eric Johnson, Josh Manson.
Yeah. Getting it from everywhere a little bit. And so is Carolina, to be fair. But again, it's that difference at the top end you see for Colorado.
And the other thing is that the Avs, 2 skaters who have not registered a point. One of them is Jack Johnson,
who's played 1 game.
Who played in 1 whole game. And the other is Abe Kubel.
Yeah. Seems like you know where to put Berkey back in the lineup.
I thought Abe Kubel was great last night, personally. But I also understand, like, that point, that perspective.
Yeah,
that's the obvious guy to pull out of your lineup. But I thought he was great.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lineup I would like to see, but
dude,
at the end,
I thought Newhook was
yeah.
great.
The thing is, like, at this point in this playoffs, I'm just gonna trust whatever Jared Bednar does. He brings in Logan O'Connor, dude scores a goal immediately. He brings in Alex Newhook, dude gets an assist on the first point of the game, the first goal of the game for Colorado. You just, at this point, you're going, all right, Jared, just do whatever you're gonna do because it's working. So, not gonna doubt it at this point.
Well, I really don't want to keep talking Avs Blues, but I will say I thought Jack Johnson was really good.
Yeah,
I don't think that you need to make that adjustment. And I know that there were people who were like, bring in McDermott in case things get weird. Don't do that. But yeah, if you are going to do that, you can take out a guy like Cogliano.
Yeah, you would definitely take out a forward if you're bringing in Curtis.
Yeah.
And maybe you start to have that conversation if it's like Cogs took a puck like we saw to just above the ankle the other night.
Yeah.
And if that thing's swollen pretty bad, you go, all right, look, you can sit that dude for a day.
Yeah.
In any case,
Rangers Hurricanes, is there anything? I want to. We've talked about what's happened, but I want to look forward.
Okay.
What is it about each team now that we are halfway through the second round in that series? What is it about each team that they're still a potential Cup final opponent for Colorado? Like, would the Rangers scare you even in the slightest?
No, I have been zero. Unless Shesterkin wakes up today and remembers the dude he was in the regular season, I have zero fear of the New York Rangers.
Really feel like you're underrating how well he's played in this series.
He hasn't played well enough.
All right. Is it really just Shesterkin then?
Yeah, and that's not a knock. I should be more clear. It's not a knock on Shesterkin saying he's played terribly. It's just that I think the Rangers team in front of him needs him to be the perfect goaltender for them to have a real chance. Because I think they're kind of terrible. I would pick Calgary to beat the Rangers. I'll put it that way. And we all know I think Calgary sucks.
All right. And Carolina.
Carolina, the thing
Is
that
Carolina just like a souped up version of the Blues?
yeah, they're very well rounded. They have the depth. Their defense is functional, at least.
Suck it. Functional.
I think
that's what the St. Louis's number one offseason goal: get a functional defense.
Right, get one that is passable. I think Carolina is, besides the Avalanche, the most talented team left in the playoffs.
Okay.
On the other side in the East with Tampa Bay, at this point, you cannot doubt that team ever. Yeah. Until they lose, you cannot doubt that team, right? They've won 10 playoff series in a row.
Yeah. And they're getting better. Like, they were vulnerable against Toronto, and now they're just getting better.
You have to not. I don't think Tampa is as talented as Carolina. I don't think Tampa is as talented as Tampa was last year.
Yeah.
But they are ridiculously experienced. Their top end is extremely good when you're getting quality play out of Kucherov, out of Stamkos, and we'll see how healthy Point is for the rest of the playoffs. But you look at their forward depth, I think especially is where you get into that third line, fourth line, not quite as deep as they used to be. And with that being said, Andrei Vasilevsky is the total game changer. That dude could that dude could just decide you lose a series and you lose the series. Like
Blues fans are like, oh, we would have won this series with Binnington or whatever, and it's like, maybe. But you were at 1-1.
Yeah.
When he got hurt. Like you were in control of nothing. Vasi.
Yeah, if someone says, "Hey, you'd have won the series with Vasi," I'd probably go, "Yeah, probably." But
be like, "Yeah, fair enough."
But Vasi doesn't play for your team, so
yeah,
sucks to suck. On the West side, I really do think you are seeing something truly special out of Connor McDavid. This dude is putting on an all-world playoffs that I really hope someday Edmonton or somewhere else gets that dude some more help to play with, because
I don't want that buzzsaw.
Calgary doesn't scare me at all at this point, especially with the struggles Markstrom has had in this series. I'm not worried about him. Edmonton, if the Avs do make conference finals and it's against Edmonton, look, man, it's going to be hold on to your butts every time the McDavid line steps onto the ice. So we'll see.
Yeah, that would be an interesting matchup, but we've got more Blues, more St. Louis.
Yep. At least one more game against St. Louis to go before that. So allowed to look ahead, but don't jump ahead. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, we'll get way more in depth and get into this if the Avs advance, and,
there'll be plenty of off days to seriously break things down more accurately, but
yeah, maybe. I mean, if Battle of Alberta goes 3-1 tonight,
there might be one day to break it down accurately. That's fair.
Game one of the next round could be
Saturday.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited just to watch these series continue on, though. Same. I always the first two games of a series are always like, just get into it.
Yep.
So
by game 3-4, you're like, all right.
Yeah, now you're into the series. There's a flow. There's you know where the series is kind of headed. Like there's something at stake, and it's not like, well, it's 1-0, where no matter what happens, each team at the end of the game is going to be, it's one game.
Yep.
Got a lot of hockey left.
Well, Hockey players were never known for their interviews.
Nazem Kadri gave an all-timer last night.
I used a good portion of it in my video. That thing was a banger.
Yeah.
All right. I'm good here on our around the league, around the playoffs here. Any final thoughts from you, AJ?
No, I'm good, man. I'm ready to hey, if this is the show that Tim Peel ended up watching, sup, Tim? Leave Jesse alone. He's a good dude.
P.S. Like, I'm sure Jesse would love to have you on the show if you want to come on.
Yeah, totally. You and Jesse can do a show.
All right. We're going to get out of here. We appreciate all of y'all so very much for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow. Pregame, watch along, postgame, the usual. You know how it goes. So be sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube.
Also, as a fun little teaser for tomorrow, watch TDSP about an hour before the pregame show if you can, because we are going to be talking about all-time great playoff performances in Denver sports history, obviously inspired by what happened last night with Nazem Kadri.
Boom. There you go. Also, go read AJ's piece. It's ridiculously good. It's free on the DNVR, so everyone can read it. He did an amazing job on that one.
Free piece so you guys can remember Nazem Kadri's night for what it really was.
Sometimes things are bigger than hockey.
Yep.
We love you. We're out of here. We will talk to you on the next one.